Hello everyone, and I'm finally here bringing you the sequel to my Eeveelution video that came out in late 2024. I am so sorry, I never anticipated the second one taking me this long, but I am so glad to be finished with it and ready to share it with you. I'll leave a link to the first video in the description, please go watch because I will be spoiling those designs at the end of this video, and I'd appreciate you watching that to see all my design processes for all the Eeveelutions. Last time we did fighting, flying, ground and poison, so today we're going to be doing dragon, bug, ghost, steel and rock. I already explained that I won't be doing normal, so we can ignore that. I have been really looking forward to sharing these designs with you, and you've been waiting way too long for them, so let's not delay anymore and just get started. So, this design is based off the Qilin. I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm very sorry if I'm not. Which is a mythical beast from East Asian lore said to be a good omen. While it's not strictly a dragon, it's commonly illustrated with dragon-like features, and I wanted to include some mythology in my design, since I don't usually do that. It actually goes by different names depending on where specifically you are, but this version is based in Chinese mythology. I gave it a dragon-esque tail and antlers along with a long mane all down its back, and instead of paws, hooves. Basically, everything I found typical in most depictions of the Qilin. In terms of other physical design attributes, all I really did was extend the mane down the legs and give it the classic Eeveelution face. For colours, I followed this particular image since I wanted to keep its design true to its origins, and I thought this would make a really nice colour scheme. Like last time, I've written up a little thing that could honestly probably just be considered this thing's Pokédex entry, so let's roll with it. In ancient times, it was believed that this Pokemon could take one look at someone and deem whether their soul was pure or not. That's how it decided who would train it. Only those with the purest soul would be able to tame this Pokemon. It would enter villages searching for a trainer that it could respect, and wherever it went, it brought good fortune and blessings. It hates senseless fighting, often using wits to beat out an opponent rather than physical attacking. And here is my final dragon-type evolution. I wasn't really sure what to name it, the obvious shout is something like Drakeon, but in the end I decided on Qilion because of the Qilin inspiration. And over there in the corner is the shiny. That doesn't follow any mythological design, I took creative liberties with that one. I hope I was able to represent the idea I had in mind for this Pokemon, and I hope you like the design too. I think there's maybe a few things I could have changed, but I'm still decently happy with it. This design is based off of one of my all-time favourite bugs, and maybe just all-time favourite animals ever, the rosy maple moth. I thought a moth would be a good choice for a bug-type Eevee since they fit in with the fluffy, cutesy aesthetic of the Eeveelutions. Plus, the colours of the rosy maple moth are just adorable, and I had to include them. Also, I love moths, so to me it was a no-brainer. I tried to make its body thicker than the average Eeveelution to really emphasise that this Pokemon is covered in fluff. I literally cannot think of a descriptive word other than fluffy. Obviously, I had to give it the classic pink and yellow colours of the rosy maple moth, which I hope made this Pokemon look more friendly and approachable. Since I know a lot of people are afraid of, like, bugs and moths, I wanted to make something that seemed friendly while encompassing that mothness. It's not a word, but you get what I mean. I hope. I added orange as an accent colour since rosy maple moths do have orange antennae, and green eyes because I thought the design was lacking in another colour and green was well suited for what we had so far, in my opinion at least. Now you can sit back, relax and enjoy my little creative writing exercise for this Pokemon. This Pokemon's soft fluff is very thick, which means it gets matted pretty often, but this Pokemon doesn't seem to care, prioritising fun over the painful brushing it will need to endure later. Whenever it shakes, this Pokemon releases spores that spread throughout the air, so it's recommended that trainers with allergies take the correct precautions if they choose to raise this Pokemon. The antennae on its head are incredibly sensitive, being able to detect even the smallest changes in the air, which it uses to its advantage, being able to tell whether it's about to rain or thunder. This Pokemon hates getting wet, so if it detects that rain is about to fall, it creates a silk coat to cover its body in order to keep dry. It also offers its trainer this silk, typically in cute little shapes like hearts, as a way to express their affection. And here is the final design, which I'm naming Silkion. Since rosy maple moths are the smallest species of silk moth, I imagine this evolution to be a little shorter than the rest of them. The shiny's colours are based on the cinnabar moth, another moth that I love, but honestly I don't know how much I like the way I coloured it. Let me know what you think in the comments and if you have a better shiny idea. Obviously there's reversing the pink and yellow, but I wanted to try something a little more out there. So the first idea I had for the ghost type was practically just a dead Eevee. Cheerful, I know. I gave it a jagged mouth with holes at either side and bones circling around its neck, as well as what looks like flames on its feet, but I'll explain what they actually are later. I gave it a skull shape on its head with 2 tall horns and a ribbed pattern on its midsection and bandages along its legs before finally coming to my senses and changing those honestly kind of hideous looking ears. I made the outline around its eyes a little thicker so that it looks like eye holes in a skull. I also made its stomach section a bit thinner since this Pokemon doesn't need to eat to survive, as it's already dead. For the colours, I wanted to go a classic ghost purple and then an off-white, almost yellow colour for the bones, as well as a nice ectoplasmic greeny blue as the accent colour, and there, now I've explained what it is, ectoplasm. The tail is where I had a real struggle. I was stuck between these 2 designs, and when I showed them to my friend, he said to combine the ideas so you can see how that came out. As usual, I've made a description of the Pokemon for you to listen to while you watch speed paint. Here we go. This Pokemon is very elusive, often hiding out in abandoned places away from people, content to be by itself or among other ghost Pokemon. While there are many horror stories about this creature, its true nature is the complete opposite. The green parts of its body glow in dark conditions, which it uses as a beacon to guide lost trainers and Pokemon to safety. It has exceptional night vision, which it uses to its advantage to hunt at night, so these Pokemon are mostly nocturnal even when domesticated. So they choose to watch over their beloved trainer at night to keep them safe from any harm. They also make a great nightlight. And here is my final ghost-type evolution design. I think I'm gonna name it Skeleon. And you can also see its shiny design. While I was making the shiny, I was thinking, these colours look really familiar. And the more I thought about it, sat there thinking about it, it is just the Phantom Dragon from Adopt Me. Oh no. I think I've played that game a bit too much. And I don't even have a Phantom Dragon. And back on topic, I'm actually pretty happy with this design. Maybe the bones and bandages are too on the nose, but I still think it's fun and I really enjoyed making it. In fact, it might be one of my favourite evolution designs I've done, maybe the favourite? Let me know what you think in the comments. I won't lie, I really struggled with the steel and rock designs. Just something about translating these harsh types into evolutions really stumped me. I knew I wanted to make its edges sharper and more geometric, like its ears and face pattern. I didn't want to go full out armor or full out robotic, so I decided to use subtle aspects of both throughout the design while keeping it animalistic and evolution-like as much as I could. Obviously, grey was the clear colour choice, as is the case with most steel types. You should be used to this by now, but I am going to read the description I wrote for this Pokemon. This metallic evolution is cold to the touch. The lighter parts of its body can be moulded into different shapes by the Pokemon, sometimes forming blades for fighting or scoops for digging, depending on its needs at the time. While the darker parts are much denser and tougher, meaning that this Pokemon can deliver a nasty headbutt while suffering little damage to itself. Because of these body moulding abilities, a lot of trainers who do climbing, digging, building often use this Pokemon as their companion. And here is my final Steel-type evolution. I couldn't think of another name for this other than Steelion, but I really don't like how that sounds. For the shiny, I went with a more rose gold or bronzy colour scheme. And this one might be one of my least favourites that I've designed. We've gone from a high with the ghost to a low with this one. I just think it feels too plain and doesn't really represent the idea I had in mind, but also I didn't really have an idea in mind, so yeah. I'm not really the biggest fan of this one. Please do let me know what you think and what would you do to improve it? This was tough. I went into this with zero planning and zero ideas. I just kind of started drawing to see where it would take me. I started with the generic evolution face and gave it mud at the end of its paws. I then tried to give it a headpiece that looked pretty much just like Glaceon, so yeah, I changed that later. I gave it a rocky neck piece and the same around its paws and repeated that same texture for the tail. I also added a gem into the neck piece since I wasn't sure if I wanted to go with straight up rocks or gems, so I decided to just combine the ideas. While messing around with the head, I ended up giving it this marking that kinda reminded me of an armadillo, and then the plan was set. I gave it back and face plates like an armadillo and ended up really liking how that looked. The colours were also armadillo inspired. I really went all out on that armadillo theme. No, not that armadillo, this armadillo. I don't even think I need to introduce these anymore, so let's go. This Pokemon's bony armor plates make for incredible defense, allowing it to guard itself against any oncoming attack. It is also prolific in digging, often living in burrows and tunnels in the wild. Though this can cause them to have rivalries with neighbouring Drillbur and Excadrill. When faced with danger it cannot figure out how to escape, this Pokemon curls into a tight ball and faces its back plates towards the threat in order to take the fall for any attacks it may suffer. Here's the final design. I decided to name it Armorion. I wasn't sure about this one at first, but I actually ended up really liking it. The idea for the shiny came completely from my brother. I showed him the design while it was still in progress, and he said that I should make the shiny grey, so yeah, I made it grey based on his suggestion. And here are all the Eeveelutions I created in this video. I think I prefer the full set that I created in the other video, but I'm still happy with most of the designs I created here. I also created this little mock-up of all the Eeveelutions together, both the fake and real ones. I just thought it would be fun to compare them to each other all in one image. I don't know if you can tell that the other ones are over a year old, but I like to think that I've improved my art skills since then, even if it's a tiny bit. I think my favourites are Poison, Ghost and Rock, and least favourites are probably Dragon and Steel. Okay, at least for Dragon, I think I had a good idea going in, but it fell flat on its feet in execution. These two videos have been a really fun creative exercise for me, and I hope you've enjoyed them too. I have a plan to design more original Pokémon, so if that's something you want to see, let me know in the comments and I can definitely get to work on that. I'm also working on another type swap video based on the comments of my last one, so look out for that if you left me a design suggestion. I'm sorry that one's taken so long as well. Please do remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you later.